My wife hid the truth for 5 years, our son isn't mine, and I don't know how to feel. There's this moment I keep replaying in my head, me, sitting on the edge of our bed, holding a baby onesie I found buried deep in a storage box in the attic. It was one of the few things I had saved from when our son, Jamie, was born. I remember standing there 5 years ago, overwhelmed with emotion, watching him blink up at the world for the first time. I thought I was watching my son. My flesh and blood. The little person who made me a father. And now I'm not so sure. It feels like I've been living in someone else's life for the past 5 years, playing a role in a script that was written without me. My wife, Lauren, and I had what I thought was a pretty normal relationship. We dated for a couple of years, got married after some rocky patches, and then Jamie came along a year later. He wasn't exactly planned, but once we found out she was pregnant, we tried to pull it together. We had been drifting before that, but Jamie felt like a reason to keep trying, to be better. He became our anchor, or so I believed. The doubt started small. I'm not talking about full-on suspicion of paternity, I mean just these tiny, creeping thoughts. Comments from people like, "Wow, he doesn't look much like you," or "He's got Lauren's eyes, that's for sure," with a kind of awkward chuckle. At first, I brushed it off. Genetics can be weird. I didn't look much like my own dad growing up, so it didn't feel like a red flag. But over time, things added up. Jamie's hair is this light golden brown that neither of us has. His eyes are green, Lauren's are blue, mine are brown. Again, possible. But then there were the photos. One day I was scrolling through some old albums on Lauren's Facebook while she was napping, looking for a picture from our honeymoon to show a coworker. I ended up going way back, to before we even met, and I saw this guy. His name was Drew. They had dated for a couple of years and apparently broke up just a couple months before she and I started seeing each other. I'd heard the name once or twice, nothing serious, just an ex she didn't really talk about. But the more I looked at him, the more unsettled I became. Drew had the same eyes. The same golden brown hair. The same smile as Jamie. It wasn't just a resemblance, it was uncanny. Like staring at an older version of my son. Still, I didn't jump to conclusions. I'm not the type to spiral over coincidences. But something had shifted in me after seeing those photos. I started watching Lauren more closely, listening to her words a little deeper. And the cracks started to show. I remembered that Jamie was born slightly early, about 2.5 weeks before his due date, but perfectly healthy. At the time, I didn't question it. But now I wonder if that due date had been fudged just enough to fit our timeline. I started doing math in my head like a madman, calculating backwards from Jamie's birthday to when we got together. We started dating in early February. Jamie was born in early November. That's about 9 months. But if she had gotten pregnant in late January or even early February, then it's possible. Barely. And that's when the storm began in my chest, the pounding heartbeat, the cold sweat, the undeniable knot that told me I couldn't just ignore this. I sat on the idea for weeks. Woke up in the middle of the night more than once with my mind racing. I'd look over at Jamie, peacefully sleeping in his little bed down the hall, and wonder if he was mine. I felt like a monster for even asking that question. He calls me Daddy. He runs to me when he scrapes his knee. He draws little crayon pictures of the two of us holding hands under a sun with a face. How could I even think he might not be mine? But how could I not? What if I was just the guy who stepped in, the backup plan, the stable one who never questioned anything because I loved Lauren too much to believe she could lie to me like this? One night, I couldn't take it anymore. Lauren and I were watching a movie after Jamie had gone to bed, and I paused it halfway through. I turned to her and just asked, "Hey, do you remember when we first got together? Like the exact timing?" She gave me this look, half smile, half confused, and said something like, "Yeah, early February, right?" "Why?" I told her I'd just been thinking about how everything happened so fast back then, with us dating, moving in, and her getting pregnant. She laughed it off and said, well, sometimes things fall into place fast. But there was something tight in her voice. Something rehearsed. I didn't push further, but I felt it, this subtle shift in energy that made my stomach twist. The next day, I took a toothbrush from Jamie's bathroom, one of his older ones, and a swab from my own mouth. I ordered a home DNA paternity test online. I told myself I wouldn't use it. That it was just to calm my nerves. But the second it arrived, I knew I'd follow through. I couldn't live in limbo anymore. I read the instructions 3 times, sealed the samples in their little envelopes, and dropped them in the mailbox. I didn't tell Lauren. I couldn't. Not yet. And now, I'm just waiting. Update 2. Hey Redditors. I got the results. I've been staring at the report for over an hour now, and I still feel like I'm floating outside my own body. I guess I always hoped, deep down, that it was just in my head. That the math was weird, or the resemblance to her ex was a fluke. That I was overthinking everything because I was tired, or stressed, or scared of being wrong. But I wasn't wrong. The report came back. 0% probability of paternity. I am not Jamie's biological father. It's final. It's real. And now I'm sitting here in the kitchen, laptop open, report beside me, while Jamie's upstairs talking to himself with his toys like it's just another normal Saturday morning. The weirdest part. I don't feel rage. Not like I expected. I thought I'd explode. I imagined screaming, flipping a table, maybe even packing a bag and storming out. But I'm calm. Cold, almost. Like someone flipped a switch in my chest and turned off the heat. There's just this numbness. Not toward Jamie. Never toward him. He's still my boy. He still calls me daddy. Still made me that Father's Day card last year with his tiny painted handprint and the words, "You're my hero," written across the top. I never once doubted that he loves me. That I've been his dad in every way that matters. But Lauren? I don't even know what to say to her anymore. I feel like I've been married to a stranger. I confronted her the same day the results arrived. I waited until Jamie was asleep and walked into our bedroom holding the envelope in my hand. I didn't yell. I just asked, why? She froze. Went pale. And in that moment, I knew she'd been waiting for this to happen. She didn't deny it. She sat down slowly on the edge of the bed and said, I always meant to tell you. I just never knew how. That sentence broke something in me. Because 5 years went by. 5 birthdays. 5 Christmases. All those nights Jamie was sick and I stayed up holding him. And she never knew how. She said it happened right before we started dating. That she and Drew had broken up, but it wasn't a clean break. There was one last night. She found out she was pregnant a few weeks later, panicked, and chose me. You were safe, she said. You were the one who always made me feel steady. Like I could have a real life with you. That hurt more than anything else. Because I wasn't just a partner. I was the backup plan. The better option on paper. She said she thought maybe I was the father. That she convinced herself it was possible. That when Jamie came and didn't look exactly like me, she told herself kids change as they grow. But she always knew. Somewhere deep down, she knew. I asked her why she didn't come clean years ago. Why she let me fall deeper in love with that little boy every single day, knowing the truth. She started crying, saying she was afraid I'd leave. That she saw how much Jamie loved me, and she didn't want to break that bond. She begged me not to say anything yet. To give her time to figure it out. I told her there was nothing to figure out anymore. She already made every choice that mattered. I slept in the guest room that night. And the next night. And the one after. It's been 4 days since I found out. I haven't told anyone in our family yet. I haven't even spoken to a lawyer, because I don't know what I want. I'm not sure I want to leave Jamie. He's innocent. He didn't ask for any of this. He doesn't know anything's wrong. He still comes into my room every morning and jumps into my lap like always. That part kills me. Because how do I explain this to him someday? I'm not your real dad, but I raised you anyway. Or worse, what if Drew finds out and tries to come into the picture? Do I have any rights? Or was I just playing house all this time? I've spoken to a therapist, and they've helped me start unpacking some of the emotional weight. I'm angry, yes, but mostly I'm grieving. Grieving the truth I thought I had. Grieving the idea that my wife was ever fully honest with me. I look back at our wedding photos and feel like an idiot. I look at the way she held my hand during Jamie's birth, how she cried and told me I'd make the best dad. And I wonder how she did it. How she kept this secret buried for half a decade without cracking. Was it guilt? Or did she just become numb to it? Right now, I'm not making any decisions. I told Lauren I need time, and she agreed. She's staying with her sister for a few days while I sort out my thoughts. Jamie thinks she's just visiting Aunt Becky, and I'm not ready to burst his world open yet. I don't know what comes next. Whether we separate, divorce, try to co-parent, or fight for full custody, I don't know. But I know I'll keep being there for Jamie, no matter what. He's my son, even if the DNA says otherwise. He's mine in every memory, every laugh, every scraped knee, and every bedtime story. I just wish his mother had loved me enough to be honest from the start. Right now, I'm somewhere between heartbroken and hollow. I don't hate her. But I don't think I can ever trust her again. That's where I'm at. What do you think? Tell us in the comments. Like the video and hit the subscribe button for more Reddit stories.